Okay, so my name is Joanna Lopez, and I'm going to be interviewing one of the three people that I chose for the interview, which would be Eric. He's my boyfriend. So it was either between him, my mom, or my sister. And I'm just going to be going through the questions that I chose and just hearing from him to see what his thoughts are or his answers are going to be. And he's going to introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Eric Monroe. I'm Joanna's boyfriend.
So let me get the questions so we can start. Okay. So one of the first questions that I chose will be, did you picture your life to be any different than how it is now?
No. Honestly, well, actually I did. I thought it would be different by, me doing something different with my life, especially when I got out of high school. I thought I was gonna be in the military, but it's crazy. I didn't end up going. I ended up changing my mind on what I wanted to do. Because at first I didn't even know what I wanted to do. So I always thought that was like the first option because, do something with your life at least. So I didn't, a couple years passed by and I wasn't able to get my diploma until 2020 of June. I was able to get it, and then, I actually ended up working more in the warehouse area. And it was a couple years like that happened, and then I ended up just switching over to Fantasy Springs, where it was my last warehouse job, and then I ended up just being a mechanic at United Rentals. And then from there, I always thought, I just honestly, it's been probably a year and a half since I've been there, and, I don't think I'm gonna ever leave. I think, it's taught me to have, that job has taught me how to have patience and just be able to have patience at home, not just, not patience, not saying it, just in a way
Did you ever see yourself ending up being at the job that you are now?
No. My friend just one day asked one of us, a group of my friends, if whoever wanted a job to work with them. I guess none of my friends applied, and I was the only one that was eager to, take on a new job like that, especially because at the time, a lot of jobs weren't paying, and that job was paying a little more than the minimum, which is a good thing, especially because we're about to have a baby, and I know how costly it is to, have a baby. It honestly helped out at the perfect time. And I've liked that job ever since. I continuously take on a lot of roles in that job. I honestly like being at that job. It's taught me a lot, and I feel like that's where I'm going to be for the rest of my life until I retire.
I'm going to ask you another question from my list. If there's anything you could do, or if you could do everything again, what would you do differently? I don't think it has to be redoing your whole life, or however you want to interpret the question, or if there's one specific thing that you would take back and do differently, or just redo everything again.
I think it would just be little things in my life that I would do different. Especially with, how everything's come out. So, I ended up having a baby. I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change anything that's caused me or led me to be the person I am today. I've learned, I just wouldn't change anything, especially because I, have a family. It's honestly, I've been a better person ever since, I've been with Joanna. Everything is a lot different. I wouldn't change anything. Well, there's not a lot of things I wouldn't change, but yeah, I wouldn't change anything. I would just change, me bettering myself at a younger age.
Finishing high school, or
yeah, pretty much.
maybe that way
That way I would have been able to do a lot more things. But since I was so limited to like what jobs hired without like a high school diploma, it was just a little hard for me.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of hard for me to actually like go, do what I wanted if I was so limited. That's why I continued so many times to try to go back to high school. But since it was so hard for me, because I worked at a warehouse and it just, I would get out of work so late. So I just wasn't able to do homework at the time. So I just pushed it back so many years. And then I finally was able to just get the courage, especially like the pandemic happened. So I ended up, just signing up because it was a lot different. They didn't have you go into school. They would have you go inside. Oh no, they would have you actually do it at home. So you do it at home and do it through there. You just turn in some work on the computer, and it was easier. It was a lot easier than having to go in and then it's just you couldn't really do much homework at home. You're in a pandemic, so it's not where you can go out. All you do is just school or pretty much stay at home because everything was shut down at the moment. So that just helped out a lot to be able to get my diploma.
Yeah. I think for me too, if I would have done something different, I would have like stuck to finishing school instead of doing it now, but I feel like doing it now is okay too.
Yeah,
It's getting done.
I mean, you're gonna get it done. I mean, it's a good thing honestly because you're not giving up on bettering yourself and trying to do more. It's a good thing you're doing school. Like, I'm happy for you. Your parents are happy for you. And I know your daughters will be when they grow up.
Yeah. Can you tell me about a place that's important to you or describe it to me? You can paint a picture about the place or tell me why it's important to you.
I would say, like, Mexico, from my mom's side, where they come from. It's a little place called Juanacatlan. It's like a little city, like a little pueblito. And that's where they all grew up, like all my uncles, my tias, my mom, my grandparents, they grew up right there. And, I went a couple of times with my brothers. And it was nice, like we were younger and we were all there for a while. My mom had actually like sent us out there for 2 months during the summer. Just so we can just be out there, do something different. Because we never went to Mexico. We did go to Mexico, but we were younger. But she actually sent us out by ourselves just to be with my grandparents. Or just to be with everyone there. And it just, it really showed me how Mexico is, Not everyone has it like out here. Everything's a lot different out there than it is here. And it just showed me, like, how it is like to live in Mexico and like all the food, everything, all the heritage, it's all different out there. I don't know. I got to spend time with my family, that I hardly ever talk to. I mean, I see them, and it's a good time every time we get together, but, I hardly go out there. Especially right now with the whole thing that's going on in Mexico, it's kind of hard to go out there and be comfortable with just, not hope, like, just be comfortable without having to, like, think, like, something's gonna happen.
And it looks different there where they live, where
Yeah,
your family lives.
It looks nice. At first when we first went, everything was different. So like the streets were rocks. Like it was like little rocks. Like it was kind of like if the rocks came out of the ground. But it was just it was just a street. It wasn't where they had asphalt or like the cement. Like like us, it's a lot different out there. Out there it was old school. So and then just the last time that we went, they had already changed those streets to asphalt, so it was smooth now. It wasn't like that. They were bettering everything. They put a little park up front where my grandparents lived. They lived up, like at the top of a hill, so from there you can actually see the whole street down. But yeah, everything was different. The last time that we went, they were like putting more stuff around the area, just making it like, because a lot of people used to like playing soccer in the middle of the street. So they put a park there and they put like, so you could play soccer. So like ever since they did that, a bunch of people started going. But it was nice, it's a lot different. It's not where, you go and then like you see people constantly on their phone. No one's constantly on their phone out there. They literally out there. A lot of people are like to be out there. But it's really nice, it's like those types of trips that you take And you're not like, oh, where you're constantly glued to your phone. It's like where you're actually trying to explore and see how everything is.
And have fun.
Yeah, it's really nice. The foods out there, they like the mornings they call these like little. It's like the swami, but they call them tianguis. It's nice. It's cool, you go and you're literally walking through a whole, like, 2 streets and you're, like, it's nonstop, like, but there's a bunch of little shops right there. You could get anything right there. Raspados, they have the hielitos.
Yeah.
Those are really good. They make you anything right there. But it's really cool. I like going out there. I would go out there if I could.
Yeah. Just with, like, everything.
Yeah, I would like to go out. Honestly, like,
take the kids.
I would like to go out there and just take the kids out there. At least for like a good 5 days, just to be able to just show them what it is out there, where it's not.
At least like once.
Yeah, once.
Because they haven't gone.
So they can meet their family out there.
Tell us a story about an accomplishment or event from your past that you think had a significant impact on you. So something that might have happened or you accomplishing something that you remember and it had a significant impact.
Man, was honestly school. Like, that was the biggest thing. Since, like, I pushed back so many years of not going to school and just, like, focusing on working.
Yeah.
And not really, like, trying to better myself in a better way, honestly. Just to be able to just at least say, I'm doing something with my life. Not just necessarily just to get my diploma, but, that opens a lot of doors to be able to do more than, just get regular basic jobs. You go to school and you can do certain jobs that pay well that don't require you to go to school. So it was a big accomplishment for me because I started going to school. I signed up for school in 2016 again. So I wasn't able to go to school in 2015 when everyone was supposed to graduate. So I signed up in 2016. I remember I signed up at College of the Desert. I signed up and I was going. It was, you had to go and be in person in that class. But since I never really I did go. I went a couple times, but I didn't like it because it wasn't like where you had someone helping you with your homework. You would literally just sat in a room and we're on the computer all day. Yeah. So, and plus it was a far drive for me because I lived in Coachella, so it was just, I had to go all the way to Palm Desert. So I called Coachella Adult School to see if they had room. And they actually had room for you could sign up and they give you a teacher and then you can actually start doing homework. And they actually required me to give them less credits. So, for example, what's it called? College of the Desert required you to give you 45. So I had to do 45 credits and I would get my diploma. Mm-hmm. And in Coachella they required 25. So I was like, a big relief, especially because, in 25, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't take you that long. So it did take me a while because it went from 2016 to 2020. And 2020 is when, I took it serious and I actually got it done because I just felt like, you're still young, but, if you want to do something I feel like, for me, I wanted to do something better with my life than just working in the warehouse and being, limited to what I can do, mm-hmm. especially because I didn't have my diploma. So with being able to get my diploma just really helped out with not worrying about I can't get a job here because I don't have my diploma. So I was able to get diplomas. I was able to get a job, or at least try to get a job somewhere that I wanted, but still being comfortable knowing that I have my diploma. It was a big relief. It just felt good to be able to just get my diploma. At the time, my little brother and sister, they were barely graduating that year. So, luckily I was able to get my diploma just, right before them. I'm doing I think a week before them. And, at least be able to say, hey, out of all my brothers, I'm the first one. Even though I should have gotten in a couple years back, but it was honestly still a good feeling. And it's still a good feeling to see my little brother and sister get their diploma as well. So
you would think that you going back and finishing it and getting your diploma had a good significant impact on your life because it's made it better career-wise.
Yeah, honestly, it's been the best, honestly, because it's, I made a lot of people proud, My mom was proud. Just made
And
a lot of people happy.
even like for yourself, because it's something that you've always wanted to do.
Yeah, it's honestly, especially ever since I got out of high school, it was just hard for me. So being able to get it was a good accomplishment for me.
Another question on my list would be, what are your dreams for me? So do you have anything?
Yeah. Dreams for you. I honestly dream that you do what you want to do in school. You finish your school and you do what you want to do. That you want to school for being a MA, and now you want to do it for RN, and I support you. I'm happy for you. Your parents are happy for you. I'm glad you didn't give up on going to school. I'm glad you want to better yourself as a person in your career. You're a good person. I admire you. I love the way you take care of our daughters. I wouldn't change anything about you. I'm happy for you. Like, you actually want to just put the effort in to being able to finish your school. I know it's not at the time that you wanted to, but just the fact that you're actually being and willingly doing school, I just know I'm proud of you.
Thank you. And you do help me a lot with the kids, even though it gets crazy. But
Yeah, just
like my mom too. So.
And my dream is to be able to see you do what you want to do, graduate, and actually get the job you wanted. Because you deserve honestly all that. You deserve to be able to do what you want to do with your life. Provide for your kids.
Yeah, that's like the biggest thing for me. Who has been the biggest influence in your life, or what lessons did you learn? So, like, who do you think played a big influence in, like, throughout your whole life? And what lessons did you learn? So it can be somebody that maybe had a positive influence or negative influence, and why.
A positive influence? Honestly, for a positive influence, I would say a couple of people in my life. Just because at first I didn't really, at home I didn't have my dad. It was a constant back and forth where, he wasn't really in my life, the way it should have been. But getting older and working, and actually, like, being around, like, people who are older and who, like, sometimes give you advice, it's just words of advice just to, like, make better choices in your life, It was a positive influence because you get old, like, you're young and you're working with people who are older than you, and they just tell you, like, what's right from wrong. Just some people see when someone else is going down, like, the bad path, and some people would give you advice, just to try to talk you out of going down that path.
Yeah.
And I felt like at one point I was going down that path where I was going bad because I just wasn't focusing on what I should have been, at first, I was young, everyone when they're young at one point, they're either at a moment where they're trying to better themselves and progress, in life, especially at being a young age. A lot of people don't know what they want, like, to do with their life. Some people do, some people have it set.
Yeah.
Where, like, okay, I'm gonna go to college, I'm gonna do this with my life. But some people
don't know.
Some people don't know. And then some people do know. They said they want to go to college, but some people just give up, Not necessarily give up, but they stop
Trying.
Like, they stop trying to go to school for what they originally started with. A lot of people end up changing their mind and they do something else with their life. But yeah, it's just different, you know. Everyone's different.
Yeah. But I feel like you changed. Like, you got a family and, like, you learned how to change everything that you were, like, used to and stuff.
Yeah, no, honestly, I changed
Like,
for the better. I became more of a family man. I became more.
Like, once you have a baby, it's like you have to learn to be much more responsible and...
Yeah, honestly, I felt like at one point I was really like shut out. Like not like necessarily like saying I wasn't the type of person that like to be around a lot of people that were just being really talkative. Because at one point I was really talkative, but then like there was like a stage in my life where I didn't really like to be really social with anyone, or you know, just I didn't really try to like make new friends at one point because it was just, you know, not the best time of my life. But I feel like being in a relationship for quite some time, it just like it changed. Like it can either change you for the better, or it can change you for the worse. You know, it all depends on how you do it and how you like have it with that person. Because there's a person you can have a person with you and it just won't go the way you want it to.
And, like, not better you.
It wouldn't better you. Sometimes it's either the person's the exact same or it could be
the
yeah
opposite.
yeah. It's just not it can be like in a good way or a bad way because
I feel like we're the same type of people, but, like, different personalities.
yeah it's weird. It's weird. It surprises me sometimes that you're the same. I remember I met you and you were really quiet. I think I was trying really hard not to like go off a topic or just like have a like I was trying to just keep conversations going with him because I was just like, you know, I was shy, you know, but I just don't like to admit when I'm shy. That's why I try to be so talkative.
Yeah.
I just try not to let the conversation die because then it gets awkward and it's just like, oh. Then I'm over here just throwing random like conversations just to like keep it going.
What are some of your goals that you have for yourself this year?
Some of my goals are honestly, so I think I just want to better myself in my career as a person, you know, with my family, you know.
For your career, like, what do you want to better? Like, where you're working at? Like,
well, at my job, my position is technician, like it's a service technician. So, right there, the way it works is they have levels of how you can better yourself. Pretty much, like so. If you let's say you're doing a good job and you know what you're doing, you know you get promoted to a higher tech level.
mm-hmm.
So, like for me, my job, my goal, and what I want is to be able to be a better mechanic at my job. Not necessarily saying that I'm not. It's just, I just want to like I want to grow in I want to grow in the company that I'm in. I like working where I'm at. I just want to be able to just do better at my job. Be able to grow, be able to
Be promoted.
be promoted. Just not necessarily be promoted. I like my job is nice, you know. Like, and I felt like in the time that I've been there, I've learned a lot, and like I have a goal of just being a field tech, which is pretty much having your own truck. You know, that's the goal. Especially because I feel like, you know, taking on a new responsibility of going out and, you know, like, so that job requires you to go out and work on machines, like, you know, on job sites. So when you have that responsibility, because, like, it's not only, like, now you have a responsibility of, like, making sure you're safe. There's a lot of factors that play into, like, being in that area and the hazards that can happen when you're out in that area by yourself.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of responsibility, especially, you know, knowing that you're the only one out there. Like, you don't have anyone out there, like if you're at the shop. Like, for example, like, I was stuck out there on Friday, out in the desert, in Desert Center, and I didn't have service, so I didn't have service for a whole 2 hours. So if something could have happened to me, I wouldn't be able to call.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to like call anyone because I was on a job site. So the job sites you're working on in the desert. So a lot of the times when I go and work on a machine, the machines are left alone and no one's around. So it's kind of hard to like get a hold of someone if you don't have service, or if just even if you can't get up to a phone, just have someone around just to be able to get something like, hey, like I'm hurt, like I need you to call 911, or just to, like even like the simplest little thing, like let's say you get a cut but it feels deep, you don't have anyone unless you're prepared, like obviously for a cut, or you have a situation like that, but it's just it's hard.
So I feel like you kind of have to know how to figure things out by yourself. Like you're on your own.
Well, not necessarily on your own, but you don't have it as easy as you would at the shop. It's just the responsibility that you have. Like you have to be. It's like a thing where you have to be prepared for it because you're going out and you don't know what can happen. So it's just.
Yeah.
I would say just be able to just be prepared for it, like.
So like most of the goals is like career-wise to better yourself. And what do you like best about yourself? Like what are your qualities that you think are good?
I feel like for a person, like I'm really like listening. I'm the type of person that likes to listen a lot. So I'd rather just listen to you. Or just not saying listen to you. I would just say like I'm really like an open person, so you can talk to me like, and that's I think that I like something I like because like people have like everyone has friends that they can go and talk to them and just like feel like open about the certain situations. Just talk to them. I feel like I've been like that person like for a lot of people, or not necessarily for a lot of people. Just for my friends that I have, just like they're open with talking to me.
I feel like you're patient.
Yeah, I am honestly.
Like when it comes to the baby.
Yeah, my daughter is crazy. She yeah, but that's one thing, especially because a lot of people don't have patience for their kids. But I have patience for my daughter. Like my daughter, well, yeah, at the top of her lung, but I still have patience for her. No matter what, like all you need to do is just get her milk and she'll be fine. But yeah, she's taught me since she was born to like have patience for her, to be able to be, just make I don't know, I would say just
like more understanding.
Yeah, she's her. Exactly like how the way things is, like because this is my first child, so it's all new to me, but it's taught me just to be more family man. Like I at first I wasn't, like I was like always like so closed up. I didn't, because it's my first time doing things like out of my own house. Like I moved out of my house, out of my mom's. I moved in with Joanna. I've grew to have a family with her, and everything's been good. And I wouldn't change anything because it's gone so good. Like, I grew with this person. Like, you've helped me better myself as a person, not necessarily just like saying like, career wise or anything like that. Just like you helped me be, more open, not like so closed up, not having bad thoughts or bad ideas, nothing like that. It's just everything's been good with you. Yeah. Our daughter healthy, Alexa's healthy. Everything's been good. I wouldn't change anything.
Like, I know one of my questions I didn't include on there, but I wanted to ask you, because I know both of your parents, but I don't know where your parents are from, or like if you know any stories about growing up or living where they're from, or I know you've been there, but one of the questions is, what was the experience like, or where they're from, or if you could tell me where your parents are from.
My mom is from Guadalajara, Jalisco.
And your dad too, or no?
My dad is from San Luis, Michoacan.
Have you been there?
Well, his family is from, his mom is, yeah, I've been there. I've actually been there when I was a little kid. I remember him, the only thing I remember is him taking us, and I remember we used to go to this taco place. Like everyone, like obviously, Mexico's known for tacos. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, no, I went when, I only went probably like once or twice to my dad's, like my mom's house, and I've never gone ever since. Since then, ever since my grandparents died, from my dad's side, it was it was hard. Like I don't think anyone really talks to each other, and since like everyone always. It always comes down to like, oh, who inherits what, who gets what. So it's always a big fight between, the brothers and sisters. So it kind of like pushed everything back.
Aside.
Yeah, it pushed everything aside because all my uncles stopped talking to each other. All my aunts stopped talking to each other, and it was just like a big fight. Everyone wanted something. My dad wasn't. My dad honestly didn't want anything. So I was surprised, but I never really went to Mexico to them, like with them, because my family, like with the whole thing going on with my dad and my mom, it just we didn't really go and associate with them as much as we used to, because it's just the whole split, just, it happened, and we weren't close. We didn't have contact with each other. We did it like here and there, but it was just like, time passed, and just we stopped talking to each other.
Like,
and
I think after your parents split, it's different.
yeah,
Like, you still see the families, but it's not the same thing anymore.
it ain't, because honestly, you don't have anything against them, and you don't, but sometimes they
do.
you feel like there's some tension, and it's not even like that. Like I feel like they see us, and they see us like a bunch of people who just didn't do anything with their life. But my brother, my little brother, my baby brother, he has a good job. My little sister has a good job. She's going to school. My older brother, he did some time, and luckily he got out, and he came out with a different mentality. It could have been different if he didn't do well, but he actually did good. He got out, and he got a job. He started right away. He got out 1 week, and then the next week, I guess he already had a job, so he was just waiting to actually start. Or yeah, well, he started, I think, like last week.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been doing good. He looks like he's a lot more open. He was closed up. He was super awkward. He didn't talk. He was just different. I felt like he was still like in a mentality of like, okay, like I'm literally not talking to much people. Like, he was just in the box, so he was pretty much closed up in the room all day.
Yeah.
So it was just different. Like, he was opening up, and now he talks. He's really talkative now. He became a good person, And then me, I don't have the best job, but I have a good job, that pays, that gives me good benefits for my house, for everything, for every little thing. This job is really good, it's taking care of us, and it's a good job.
What do you think are like some of the best memories between you and your siblings, or your siblings and your parents?
Honestly, when I remember Christmases, every Christmas we'd all get together, all of us. It was like before any of my grandparents passed away. I'm sorry for bringing it up so much, but anytime we'd all get together, it was always a good time. Everyone got together. All my brothers were there, obviously because we were smaller, but my tios, my tias, everyone always went. My grandma always made tamales, and best time. We'd all celebrate. We'd always have a good time, because everyone would just come over. There would be no drama. It was just a good time. And, time started passing. Yeah, things changed. It wasn't like before. Everyone does their own thing. Hardly anyone comes in contact with each other. But still, like now, thank God my brother got out this year. And it'll be a Christmas that he'll like spend with us now this year. After a couple years, after almost 10 years of not being able to spend it with someone, he'll finally be able to spend it with us.
And I feel like it's different too, like when you're little than when you're bigger. Because I feel like everyone has something going on. Like, everybody has their kids during the holidays. And it's, like, harder. So I feel like everybody, like, goes house to house that day. And tries to spend time with everybody.
Yeah. There's a lot of families that actually get together. And, like, and actually just celebrate it all together.
Yeah.
And, some people actually, like, it's crazy because some people do that, and some people, some people don't like to do that. But when they do that, I'm pretty sure it's a good time. But still, being able to do it and having everyone there, you don't have to go from house to house. Yeah. You have your family all together. And, man, sounds like cool.
Yeah. What are some of the most important lessons you've learned in your life? Like things maybe you learn not to do again, or maybe...
Some important things was just to always have, like, open mind for everything. Just always keep your options open. Always, I felt like, as a guy, for me, like, where I've been around or when the people I've talked to, is always just be a hard worker. Yeah. Like, I feel like I work too much. I work Saturdays. I work Monday through Friday, and sometimes I get home till 7, so it's just hard for me. I get home, and I know sometimes it's not what you expected, especially because you have to deal with the kids.
I feel like one of the biggest things we've learned is to, like, even though, like, we don't want to do anything on our days off, we have to. Like, we have to, at least, we don't have to go out, but we at least have to do something with the kids. Or do something, all 4 of us together.
Yeah, I feel like at least once a week, just taking the kids out and just making sure, they have fun, they go out. They're not stuck to an iPad all day or watching TV all day. They get, like, some fresh air. They're able to be out and just be free, since the baby can't really do anything. At least have her get some, some fresh air. Mm-hmm. And for Alexa, let her play, on the playground. We take her to the playground. Let her have some social time, because a lot of the time usually we take her out on Sundays, or we at least try to take them out Sundays just to be able to just play. And a lot of the time, a lot of families are always at the park, so a lot of kids usually play.
Yeah.
So, a lot of the time they make friends because they're playing around, they're all yelling. But, yeah, I feel like it would be important at least once a week to take the kids out, just to be free from the house, instead of just feeling like they're stuck in the house and they're not really talking to anyone. Like, for Alexa, like, again, it'll help her to have more friends, and not saying have more friends, but be open to talking to more kids and, like, learning how it is to, like, okay, like, for some kids, like, they learn to respect each other because they're around each other and they know what's right and what's wrong. Yeah. But some other kids, that since they're not around other kids and they're, like, stuck at home, like, I don't know if it's different for them, but I would say in my mind and my opinion is, like, they're stuck at home, and they don't really know what it's like to be around other kids. So when they're around other kids, they don't know what's right and what's wrong. Unless, that family is actually raising them right, it's not raising. I can't say what's raising right from wrong, but I feel like, yeah, it's good to have kids be running around with other kids.
I wanted to ask you one last question. I didn't include it on my list, but I was going to ask you, if I didn't choose this to add on, was discuss an accomplishment or event that happened to you. It could be formal or informal. Just something that marked your transition from you being still a child to being an adult. It could be within your family. Like, what's something that made you realize, like, you're not a kid anymore?
I think it was, like, the first day my mom asked me to pay rent. Yeah, she told me, she's like, hey, you're getting older, you have a job. It's time to pay rent. And at first I was like, damn, like, all my money's going away. But I was 17 years old. I remember I was working at a soup plantation. I started working as a dishwasher there, and I was excited. I was like, damn, like, this is it. Like, I'm doing it. But it was just my first job. I was 17 years old. I felt like it was hard to, like, get a job, especially since you're not 18, and then some jobs require you to work nights, or it was just the hours that made it a big factor for me, especially because I was still going to school at the time. Yeah. So I was able to get a job there. I got a job, and I remember I started working there, and it was cool, because I've never worked at a restaurant. Um, but that job, like actually working right there, I was able to like move around through different positions,
Uh-huh.
and it actually taught me to talk, like to be able to talk to someone, and I can walk up to a stranger and talk to them instead
Like
of like,
social skills.
yeah, it showed me to like have so much social skill and be actually like have conversations with people. Like I liked it. It was honestly a good experience. My manager was a good person. Like he taught me to be a hard worker. He taught me how to do things right from wrong. To like not do things halfway. Just to do, if you're gonna do something, do it right.
Mm-hmm.
It taught me to be a hard worker. It just taught me to work for my money.
Yeah.
But I felt like that was my biggest accomplishment because I was like, damn, it's my first job. I'm 17 years old.
And I feel like that's when you started, like, okay, I'm not a kid anymore. Like, I have to do things for myself.
Yeah, so ever since then, I had to start buying stuff for myself. Like, I remember, obviously, everyone at one point was asking their parents for money. I think I stopped asking my mom for money when I got my job. I didn't make money for myself. I didn't have that person, or I didn't have someone helping me. Like, hey, come help me out. I'll give you some money on the weekend. So being able to actually have my own job and provide for myself, it showed me a lot. It showed me like, okay, like you have to pay for yourself. Like, it's not easy. You have to, like, it kind of showed you like, okay, this is what your parents going through, like having to buy you stuff, like working to be able to get you stuff.
Yeah.
So it really taught me, and then from there I continued working, and I worked my way through having another job. And I remember I was working 2 jobs for like a whole year, and then I quit that job. No, I stayed at that job, and then I did it again. I started working at Home Depot and Soup Plantation, and then I moved to working at the cereal factory at Mecca. I was working 2 jobs. I was working in Soup Plantation and the cereal factory. Well, the cereal factory and Soup Plantation at the same time. And the thing that it was so hard. I was working at the cereal factory from 4 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. And then I would get out of work, and from like 6 to like 10 I would work at Soup Plantation.
And I think when I met you too,
Yeah,
I was driving you. Like when I would have to borrow your car, I would have to drive you from one job to the second job.
No, I think I had already stopped working at the cereal factory. The cereal factory and Soup Plantation, I only did that for like a month or two. We were talking.
And I would have to drive you from the warehouse to the restaurant.
Yeah, no, I think yeah, actually, yeah, you would. No, when I was talking to you, I was working at first at the cereal factory, and then I moved to the Red Oceans.
Oh, okay.
But the cereal factory was the hard one. It was like my body was drained, and then I moved to Bed Oceans, and that's when we started. You would work down the street for me, and we take the car and you drop me off at work.
Yeah, I feel like jobs. I think for me it wasn't like, oh, you need to get a job and you need to pay rent. I think for me, like, transitioning from your your childhood to adulthood was like, oh, I'm gonna become a mom. Like at 18 I need to get my stuff together really fast, because it was something that was like a big change for me.
Yeah, I bet, because I mean, you're literally having to do things for yourself and for your child. It's not like your mom's gonna do it for you. It's crazy, because from one day to another, like at first you're going through a phase like, oh my god, I'm about to be a mom to this child.
Yeah.
So when it's actually happening, it's a lot different. Your mentality changes on everything. And like, I've noticed, like, for you became a mom again, and you changed the way you do things, especially because you have another child, and this one, like, not like Alexa, like where Alexa can do things for herself. Like Ariela can't. She's only a year old. She can't even walk yet, but.
And for you too, it was a big change, because you went from no kids to like, oh, now I'm moving in with this person and this person has a kid, and then we had a baby, so it's like a big change, like 0 kids to 2 kids in 2 years.
Yeah, no, it was a big change because you had to be getting used to, like, okay, this person that I'm moving in with has a child. She has a child. You had no idea. Alexa was only 2 years at the time.
Yeah.
I had to get used to that. Like, it's not getting used to her age. It's getting used to, like, okay, I'm about to move in with this person. We're about to be together, like, you're signing up to be with this person. If you're taking the next step and moving in, it's like, okay, it's serious.
Yeah.
Man, we did that. I remember moving in. I was nervous. I was like, oh my God, like, I'm about to, like, I'm leaving my mom's house. Like, I was like, oh, like, damn. And, remember the first day being in that apartment, I was like, wow, like, I actually did this. Like, we moved in.
Like, we didn't get our furniture until, like, 4 months later, sleeping on.
Yeah, no, I had a bad experience with that, but, being able to live with that, live that experience with you, was a good thing.
Yeah, it's, like, good memories.
It was, honestly, like, I remember, since we were waiting on the table, because it was supposed to get there with the sofa,
and we would eat on a foldable table.
Yeah, we eat on the foldable table, but hey, I don't mind. Like, we got our stuff. Well, that's the good thing. But, not everyone starts off having it like that. You're like, okay, some people have it different, Some people, we struggled. Honestly, we did struggle because we didn't have, our furniture. But
I feel like now
I'm grateful for being able to just, be able to provide. Like, we're able to, like, get our stuff and, like, live the way we're living, because everyone lives different.
But I feel like we're good right now. Like, we're providing for our kids and stuff. But I just feel like me finishing this and doing this would, like, better us too.
I feel like it would just, like, honestly, just make you happy, especially because that's what you want to go to school for.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be something to just, just feel like, okay, I did it, You finished what you wanted to do, and, it would just be a big accomplishment.
Well, those were all my questions for you, babe. So we're done with the interview. So this was my project for formal project listening is an act of love, and I'm going to be submitting that in today. So thank you for being my interviewee.
Yeah, you're welcome.